Michaela Mulkey. I'm in period 6 of Intro to Auto, and today I'm going to show you how to change the oil. For this task, you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need oil, and you're going to need to know how much and what type. For this, the type of oil is W30, and you're going to need, and how much for this car you're going to need is going to be about 6 liters. Another thing you're going to need is an oil filter. You're going to need a wrench, and for this particular car it is a 14mm one, and depending on how strong you are, you may need an oil wrench. And then you're going to need a pan to catch the oil in. Okay, so once you get under the car, there are some things you're going to need. You're going to need the wrench, the oil pan, which will be placed directly under the wrench. You're going to later need an oil filter, your oil filter, and possibly your oil wrench. So you're going to loosen this up and keep doing it. And you can see the oil is starting to come down. And you're going to get the wrench off and just loosen it the rest by your fingers. And take it out as quickly as possible and just let it run. So once the oil pan is just dripping a little like that, you can move on to the oil filter. The oil filter on this car is located right beside the oil pan. And with this, you're going to undo it either by your hand or by the oil wrench, and you're going to let it drain into the pan you let the other oil drain into. Okay, so once you change the oil filter, you're going to put the plug back in. You're going to first tighten it by hand, and then come back in with the wrench. And you're just going to tighten it a couple. And that should be good. Okay, due to technical difficulties, we were not able to get the oil filter off that is currently on. And so what you would do is, as stated previously, you would take an oil filter wrench or by hand and unscrew it and take it off and let that drain until it was like the oil pan was. And then once that is done, you would take the new oil filter and you would take new oil from the oil that you would be putting in your car. You would dip your finger in that, and then you would just coat it on the ring and then on the inside, just a little. And then you would rescrew that back into place where the old filter went. Now the next step is to make sure that everything that is under the car is cleared up, so then you can now lower the car off of the stands. Okay, now that you've got the underneath of the car cleaned out and you've put the jacks down, you're going to put the oil into the car. So you're going to remove the engine oil cap and pour the oil in. Set it down. And you're going to put a funnel in to help make it a lot cleaner, actually, when you put the oil in. And you're going to do this slowly and try not to get it everywhere. So once you have finished filling the engine with oil, you're going to check the dipstick and see where the oil is. You're going to pull it out all the way, keep it down, wipe the end off, and then you're going to dip it back in and see if it is good or not. You can't really tell, but I believe that is good. Now that you've finished doing the oil, you have the option of checking all of the other fluids. These include the coolant fluid, the windshield wiper fluid, the transmission, the steering power fluid, and the brake fluid. These are all checked out. These are all checked the same way, more or less, as the oil. With things like the coolant that have a screw on top, you basically unscrew it, look inside, and check on how much there is. With things like the trans, you check them exactly the same way as you would the oil. You pull out the dipstick, you wipe it down, make sure that it is between the two little halfway points, and you are set. And then once you've got all that done, you're good to start driving again. So that's how you change an oil in a car. Drive safe.